believes his feline.
Welcome to today's show. A few years ago, I covered this, and I am actually in shock that with everything that's going on in the world, that they're actually trying to pull this off and do this. But it doesn't necessarily shock me as much as it pisses me off and sickens me. But Billy Boy's got another little trick up his sleeve because, well, they didn't get the number of people they needed to get, at least according to what they wanted to get. So now we're releasing millions of genetically modified mosquitoes across the US. I kid you not. I covered this company, and this notion was brought up a few years ago, and I talked about how they were going to do this and use this as a way to depop by spreading disease through the mosquitoes. Now, this is something I've covered many, many times with Plum Island. For those of you that aren't familiar, Plum Island, you probably have seen some of the mutated photographs of the animals that have washed up on shore. That's where they created Lyme's disease and other airborne diseases that they've put inside of ticks, mosquitoes, and other animals that'll bite and pass it on to human beings, whatever disease they decide to put inside these bugs. Well, here we have them flat out admitting to doing this, admitting to gene editing, which of course was the big thing that everyone was talking about with gene editing, and they're admitting they're doing gene editing with the mosquitoes, and the biotech company known as Oxitec is funded by Billy and Melinda. What a surprise. If this guy isn't going to be arrested for crimes against humanity at this point, you might as well just say that this world is doomed, that people actually could support this guy. People who are liberal, I guess, would be the ones who support this maniac who does things like this. The fact that they want to experiment and they think now's a good time to try this experiment out, which I'll read to you about what they're attempting to do here. But don't worry, folks, we didn't just go through a quote-unquote pandemic. We didn't just go through that for 2 years, that we're going to experiment by putting in diseases in mosquitoes and then having it spread out there because they want to try to stop other diseases from spreading, when in reality, they don't know what this could do. Oh, that's what they claim. They know exactly what this will do. The U.S. could soon be swarming with genetically altered mosquitoes after the Environmental Protection Agency approved a plan to test the insects. I mean, another joke of an organization, the EPA, just like the CIA, the CDC, the FDA, scams, scams, scams. Nobody elected to these positions put in these positions to destroy humanity. It is hoped that the new altered mosquitoes, ladies and gentlemen, will ward off their natural disease-causing counterparts. Biotech company Oxitec, which is the Gates company, has developed altered mosquitoes, which have been genetically modified so that males, which do not bite, are released into the wild and mate with females, which do not bite. Oh, so they don't bite. How about this? To the people at Oxitec and the Gates Foundation, bite me, okay? Really? We're supposed to believe that? Apparently there's mosquitoes now that don't bite. So they're going to put it out into the public and tell you that it doesn't bite. And they know that we live in such a dumb time period. Of course, people will say, but Carl, they don't bite. Why would you think that? Because they told us that they don't bite, Carl. Oh, right. Just like they told you when we had to reach herd immunity, that people were asymptomatic, that people, all these things that they've gone back on with that. Now we can trust them with this and whatever else they want to do to humanity. Because, we're all on board. No one elected Bill Gates. No one elected any of these people in general. And then they're putting mosquitoes out there with, altered GMO mosquitoes. And still people aren't going, what is this guy's deal? Do people realize what's going on yet with this obsession that these people have with gene editing? This obsession they have where it just seems like they want to depopulate so much. They only say it on the record over and over that they want to and we need to. But no, there's no conspiracy here. That's just crazy tinfoil hat talk. Whew. The offspring of the mosquitoes, either male or female, never survived to reach maturity. Last year, millions of mosquitoes were released in the Florida Keys in a pilot project last year, and the EPA on Monday gave the green light to extend the project in Florida, as well as expanding it into counties in California, pending approval from the state's regulators. Well, it'll get approved in California, I'll tell you that. There isn't much they won't approve in California. Oxitec, head of global public affairs, Meredith Fensom, said, well, the EPA approval covers 1 Florida county and 4 in California, and the release of more than 2 billion genetically altered male mosquitoes across the states. The launch is planned to be much more limited, they say, covering only the Florida Keys and expanding to Tulare and Vista counties in California. Oh, right. So are these mosquitoes just going to stick around in the one the one county? We're supposed to believe, too, that the mosquitoes can't procreate, and the mosquitoes are just going to be like, hey, hold on. Hey, Joe. Yeah, we can't go out of the Keys here. We're stuck in the Keys. They told us we got to just come to the Keys. We're going to stay here. But, what about across that line over there? I see some people we could bite. No. We're going to stick with the Keys. Oh, okay. Because, they can control the brain of the mosquito, and they could promise that 2 billion mosquitoes, not 200, not 2, not even 2,000, 2 billion. Yeah, that sounds real. I mean, are people going to be able to breathe down there? They'll be opening their mouths. Mosquitoes are going to be flying in. And this is what your tax money goes towards. Don't tell me, oh, this Bill Gates has funded this by himself. This is your tax money at work. Wastes, total waste to set this new world order up on our dime. Unbelievable. So Oxitec said the aim was to reduce the transmission of harmful diseases. You can only laugh. So they're going to reduce the transmission of harmful diseases such as Zika, yellow fever, and others. Although the Aedes aegypti, which is an invasive species, make up just a small fraction of the total mosquito population in Florida, they account for a large number of the cases of human diseases, according to Dr. Fensom. Florida has seen an outbreak as recently as 2020. The species is growing in California, but so far, there have not been confirmed cases of dengue, Zika, or yellow fever spreading throughout the insects, according to the state's health officials. The goal of the new trial is to study the genetically altered mosquitoes in 2 different environments. I mean, is this necessary? Do people really just going with everything going on in the world? Yeah, we got to get this out there. We got to study the altered mosquitoes' genetics. That's what we need to do. Let's get our magnifying glasses and our binoculars, and let's watch these things. This is really necessary. Do people realize that this experiment is an experiment on humans? This has nothing to do with the mosquitoes and caring about this is an experiment on human beings, just like the last experiment we just saw, which is still going on. The genetically modified mosquitoes the company produces are males with a self-limiting gene. While the difference can't be detected by the naked eye, the modified insects produce male offspring and female offspring that cannot survive. Well, being that mosquitoes don't have a long lifespan, I mean, what are they trying to tell us here? Mosquitoes, it's not like mosquitoes live to be 50 years old. Mosquitoes die relatively quickly. So they're really not... Well, what are we learning here from the experiment? They're just like, oh, well, the mosquitoes aren't going to procreate. They aren't going to procreate because they don't live that long? Huh? They said it's hope over time, as the female population decreases, so will the overall population. And in that quote right there is the answer to why this is going on. It's hoped that over time, as the female population decreases, so will the overall population. However, the move has been met by some opposition from environmental groups who are concerned about the potential impacts of the genetically altered insects. Well, that's good to hear. Are there enough people to stop it? Of course not. They say this is a destructive move that is dangerous for public health, said Dana Paris, Food and Technology Program Manager with Friends of the Earth. A major concern with the expansion of the Florida project, according to Paris, is the lack of widespread peer-reviewed scientific data from the past year. Peer-reviewed data is expected to be released, according to Fensom, but Paris said there was a worry about a potential risk without a more rigorous and public review. The lack of confirmed transmission of diseases such as Zika and yellow fever in California was also a concern. They said there's no immediate problem, and there are a lot of unknowns. Yeah, well, that's because they're going to cause the problems. You see, Doc, They're going to cause, this isn't the doctor, but Mrs. Perils. See, they're going to cause, well, since your last name is Perils, I want humanity to perish. How ironic, right? There's no immediate problem, but why not just create this so we could potentially have a problem? That makes sense, and Bill doesn't seem to be concerned at all about his public image anymore. Not that he ever was, because he seems untouchable, because you would have thought in the past 2 years that there would have been citizens' arrests made on this guy numerous times for crimes against humanity. But said he's hiding out in his underground bunker, showing up at some of his summits. I'm sure he'll be at the World Economic Forum, although they probably are all afraid to be there this year, being that so many people are onto them and their New World Order globalist scheme. But we've all been onto them for a long time, and it looks like they don't care anymore because they've done what they wanted to do. They have mind-controlled so many imbeciles into following their plan. Thus, they could do stuff like this, where people should go, yeah, I'm going to have to say no to the whole GMO, genetically engineered mosquitoes. They're like, yeah, but they don't bite. Oh, they don't bite. So what do? They just buzz around, They hook up, they buzz around. Oh, okay, so you promise they don't bite. Well, we don't know what could eventually happen. It's an experiment. Oh, right. Just like the experiment you just ran on the citizens of the world. Got it. Got it. So they say once you release these mosquitoes into the environment, you can't recall them. This could, in fact, create problems that we don't have already. It's going to create problems, all right. They say that these insects have been designed so the population would die out over time. Another sentence in there you could take one way or the other. They're talking about the mosquitoes dying out. That's interesting. The insects have been designed so the population would die out over time. And who knows what could be carried. You mean the Zika would be in the mosquito? Of course it would be. Amongst many other things. And people go, well, it's science, Call. This is science. We need to try these types of experiments. Let me guess, is this something to do with global warming? Is that all we need to label it as? Oh, right. And then the idiots go, hey, it's, I mean, it's, mosquito's not going to kill anybody. Oh, right. Things like West Nile. No, we all just need 2 billion GMO, genetically engineered mosquitoes buzzing around our Earth, let loose by Bill Gates. The insanity of this world at this point shouldn't shock anyone. It should just sicken you, really. Because it's unbelievable what they get away with. Where are people's votes or anything for these people to be involved in this type of crap? It's like I've said it for years, they do it in the name of art, so they get away with it. Well, they do it in the name of science, so they can get away with it.
If you've ever had this feeling